So, how did you go? I would expect that the solutions to this particular chapter's exercises were considerably simpler than the ones on functions. Structures are like that. They're quite so you understand the basic concept. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the solution. New database.h, which is of course where the structure is going to be defined. So let's have a look at that structure that we've created for ourselves. I've called it CD underscore type, and this is what it looks like. It's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different fields within it, which are essentially going to be those variables that we used before. It's just called title, artist, tracks, album, and price, as you would expect. Now, notice that I don't need to have an array of tracks. Each CD just contains one track, one album, one price, one title, and one artist. Obviously, the title and artist are arrays of characters. In other words, they're strings. Now, as you would expect, this no artist hash define thing works as well here. You can interpret this as reading, if the no artist define is set, then all of this code is omitted, which means that the CD will simply not have an artist as one of its fields. The structure will only have 4 fields instead of 5. Okay, moving right along, we have the type def that I asked for, and we just called that CD underscore T. Now, there was actually one other thing in the header file that changed. Did you remember to do it? Yes, it's down here. The prototypes also have to be modified. We've renamed them, and of course we have the read CD, which simply returns to us one structure, and then we have the print CD, which takes one structure as its only parameter. Okay, well, let's go now and have a look at the code. So this is database.c. What I'll do is I'll skip straight down to the beginning of the main, and I'll start there. Okay, so here we are at the main, and notice that all we have now at the beginning is one single variable called CDs, CDS, and that is simply an array of 100 of these, and these is of course a alias for the structure name. So in other words, we have an array of structures. These structures really do simplify the code when you can use them properly. Anyway, this is just as much as it was before. It's exactly 100. It's the number of elements in the array, as you would expect. Let's scroll on down. Okay, here's a piece of code that's certainly changed. We call the function called readCD, and it returns to us, it has a return value of 1 CD. Now we take that CD that is returned to us, and we simply put it into the array of CDs in the appropriate spot. We'll have a look at the readCD function in just a moment, but we want to remember that it does not take any parameters at all, and it returns a single CD. Okay, moving right along, this didn't change very much. Now for the printing purposes, this is the printing line, much simpler than it used to be. We simply pass in a single parameter. Now this is the single parameter that we're passing in. It's one element, it's the ith element of the CD's array. In other words, it's a single CD. If we're passing in one element of an array of CDs, then we're actually passing in one CD. So the print CD function will print out the details for that particular CD that we pass it. Okay, so that's all the details in main that have changed. Let's go now and have a look at read CD. Here it is. So as you recall, it takes no parameters, but it passes us back a CD structure. Now, what CD structure does it pass us back? Well, here is the CD structure. We create for ourselves this one CD, and then we start reading data into it. We read in, as you would expect, the title, the artist, the CD tracks, the album, and the price. This is all fairly straightforward. We're just reading the details of a single CD that we've created here, and once we've filled it all in, we simply return it. As you can see, once you know how to do it, it's actually quite simple. As far as the printing is concerned, that's also quite simple. We pass in, as you recall, one CD structure, and then we print out the details of it. We'll call this CD, so we simply print out the CD title, CD artist, tracks, and so on. As you recall, this is a Boolean. Now I could compile and run it for you, but you won't notice any difference at all. It's simply the internals of the code that have changed. The output should be identical. A bit easier than the last chapter.